So we're talking Ghana Month. Of course, we're having this agenda about our culture, celebrating our beautiful heritage. We delve deeper on the conversation of marriage. But this time we're looking at bride price. Bride price, as some of us already know, is a price that the groom should be prepared to pay if he has intentions to marry a young woman or whom he has for whom he has sight. The foundational essence of the bride price is for the suitor to pay an amount to the bride's family before the bride is given away to the suitor. So it symbolizes value, or the value being placed on the bride. The prices differ, but over the years, concerns have been raised over exorbitant prices charged by some families, and they say it appears to be killing the interest of many young people who intend to marry. Others are of the opinion that some men use this as a basis to abuse their wives because they feel like they bought them. Is it about time that the bride price system is reviewed? Is it even still relevant? Tell us what you think. Share your comment with us on our Facebook page, where we're asking you to what extent, for you, the bride price is still relevant. We've been speaking to some people. Here's what they think.
You pay the bride price, you'll be happy, your wife will be happy, you'll be happy, you know that yes, it's togetherness and not one man thing. So I think it's necessary. It depends on how everybody interprets his or her own thinking. But me, an old man like this, I feel is correct, because in the long run, when you are old like me, it's better to have your wife near you than being lonely and nobody comes to you. But when you've done those things and it comes into play, your wife too also be happy. Yeah, we are, the children are gone, but we are together here from the beginning. So I think it's a good thing.
Yes, it's very relevant, because if the man didn't pay, it's not pay the money is not you are paying for the woman, but you are just saying that you are just showing appreciation to the woman, and it's good that you pay. If you don't pay, that means the man, you are cheap. And because if you don't pay anything for the family of the woman, it doesn't speak well of you, the man. So you have to pay something that shows that this woman is with me now. If the parents are looking for the woman, is with me now. That doesn't mean that you pay for her being, but you are just showing appreciation to the woman and with God that this time, if you are looking for your daughter, is with me.
For families to respect you and see that you have my property, so you take good care of it. But when you don't pay a bride price and you have someone's property in your house, you try to do anything to it. You understand? So I think the bride price give us some kind of respect, and also the need to take good care of one's property.
I think it's not really as relevant, but I believe it's just a token that the man can give to the family of the woman, because she cannot really buy the woman. So it's just a token, just to give to the parents of the woman, and saying that I'm taking your daughter home and this is what I can only give. Because if you're talking about relevant, then that means it should be something that you are paying for, something that when you take it, you can do anything to, but it's not like that. So it's just a token you are given to say thank you for giving me your daughter.
So somebody will take care of his daughter and you go for her, so you need to show some appreciation.
It is still relevant, because marriage is in the constitution from our Creator. And the name of our Creator is Jehovah God. When life originates on this earth, it took two persons. Let's go back to Isaac. When the father Abraham saw that he needed a partner, he sent one of his servants to go to Canaan to find him a woman. So over there he took every item that it may require, because it is a constitution.
Is it still relevant to you? Let's hear from you on social media. And of course, we have our Rev Daniel Annan, who's a counselor, in the studio as well. We'll be taking your calls today as well to find out if you have any further questions. But you've heard what people think. I think that the majority of them, Rev Dan, you're welcome.
Thank you.
I think that the majority of them seems to think that it is still relevant. Basically, it appears that the conversation we should be advancing is whether or not it should be reviewed. What do you think, by the way, of bride price? Is it still relevant, you think?
It's very relevant, very, very relevant because of 5 reasons. First, bride price or dowry has a cultural, it's a cultural thing. Has a cultural relevance. Bride price or dowry has a spiritual relevance in terms of the first marriage that we saw that was, apart from Adam and Eve, properly contracted in the Bible. We see these things playing a role. The one even who was sent was the chief of staff. So the chief of staff of Abraham was sent to contract the marriage.
Okay. So
you could see that there was so much importance to it. So it has that spiritual connotation, the cultural one. You have the social aspect too. That is society. People ought to see that you are married.
Okay.
That's why certain things are asked or certain things are presented, because it's not done privately. It's done openly for the community. That when you go to the Volta region, when you are contracting marriage, most of the time they perform it in your village.
Okay.
They'll prefer that the person who is coming to do what we call engagement should go to your village, so that the village people understand that, oh, Jifa is now married. So it has a social connotation. It has a personal thing too. The personal aspect deals with the responsibility.
Responsibility.
Yes.
The man's responsibility.
Exactly, both of them. Because you have gone in and asked for. You are not paying. In the communication, when we are contracting marriage, we say we are asking for her hand in marriage. You cannot pay.
And so the thing has been that, so people are saying, why should a man pay for a woman? They feel like they are buying the women when you make them pay.
It's not paying. That they are not buying. That you are showing appreciation and you are just communicating responsibility. Look at the things that we ask. For instance, the dowry for the woman. The accounts believe that when you go to, I've done a lot of research about these things. When you go to the Busa land, they are one of the fantastic people, the way they contract their marriage. There, you don't pay anything. You give a cutlass. You give a cutlass and a hoe. When the woman gives birth, then they will let you bring a kid. They nurture that kid so that they begin to have a farm for you, an investment for you, that person. When you go to other jurisdictions, like when you go to the Fanti land, it's also quite different. So you see that we are communicating responsibility as to the man, and the woman also be responsible that somebody has openly and willingly asked for your hand in marriage, so you have a duty to perform. So when you look at the way it's being done and the things that we ask for, I think that nowadays what we need to do is to contextualize what was done in the olden days, because it was a concept. Why do we ask for schnapps? Why do we ask for clothes? Why do we ask for this? How do we contextualize that in our contemporary world, in this modern world? When you look at the way marriage were contracted in the olden days, in fact, to me, I believe that is a proper marriage. We don't have any Christian marriage. If you look at it critically, I believe that the church has to change its concept on how we get people to marry. The best thing to do is that when these things are done and done well, then we bless it. Then we allow them to go through the legal aspect. Then it's finished. You don't have to come into the church again. Because if that is a proper marriage, the church one is not recognized by law.
Okay, let's deal with the bride price system and all that. And the things that are requested. When you go for, you're going to marry someone and you go to your family and you say, we're
are going to marry someone. There are some cultural settings that the woman is the one who pays.
Yes, so in Ghana, but in Ghana, it's the man who pays, isn't it?
Okay.
I think it's across the board. It's a man who pays. The sort of things that are on the bride price now, on the dowry now, Some have complained that they're so exorbitant. People are asking for iPads, people are asking for, and I'll pull up one of those examples that sometimes you find on the internet and read it out to you so that we can have a discussion around that. Yeah. Do you have to pay so much? What are the basics that you need to give when you're going to ask for someone's hand in marriage?
It depends. Depends on the couples, the people who are in the relationship. Basically, it should be the dowry, the one that is going to the woman. I went to Kroboland to contract a marriage for one of our church members. When we went there, unfortunately, the man has already given birth to the woman and the children are grown. So when we went there, they said, because you have done that, you have to pay this, you have to bring a sheep, you have to bring that. So I discussed with the woman. I told the woman, you know what? I've come here with your husband. Do you love the man? Say yes. Convince your people to accept. If they don't accept and we leave, we'll come here again. Because you see, sometimes some people want to enrich themselves out of some people's engagement. I think it's not fair. There are people who are just starting life. So why do we have to burden them with so much? The basic things should be a token. A token. You have some few clothes. The schnapps that they ask. In our cultural system, we use schnapps or the whiskey or the brandy to announce. They will give, some people will drink there as witness, and they will leave the rest with the elder person in the house. Anyone who comes to the house and is being welcomed, they will pour some to the person, tell them that, oh, give to your warrior. So as when you drink, then you become part of it. So
but things have changed now.
Things have changed.
Things have changed now. So what should be the direction if we were to review this? Where should we even start from if we were to review the bride price system?
If we want to start, then we have to start with our families, because it's going to the families. We must let the people understand that you are starting life. You, the one who we are coming to your home, talk to your parents, talk to your people that we are starting life. Quite often, it's the women who bring the pressure, because they have seen somebody's own and they are comparing notes. So they want to do something flamboyant for people to see that, my own was the best. But that should not be the issue. I don't believe that when you are contracting marriage or you are starting life, you don't have to start with debt.
Okay. I'll have you respond to some of the things that people are saying. We'll go on Facebook. But this is what I just found. Oops, I lost it. But let's go quickly on Facebook and find out what people are saying about bride price. And it seems like a conversation going on there. Let me start with Sumani Charles Baba. He says, are people still thinking about bride price? Who is bride? When women, and he puts in quote, feminists are crying for equality, okay. Well, I won't read that. And stop wasteful expenditures called bride price. What is important about marriage if women refuse their role? Who is who in the marital home? Okay, well, that sounds like a very different conversation. David Nanamwakuwai says that unnecessary drama should stop. Until the bride's family start paying some of the expenses, they will not reason. Let's preach the word. Wedding is supposed to be a shared responsibility. Well, you're talking about weddings, but I get your point. Calls for whom to review the bride price. Dr. Awal, you're asking us, every ethnic group and their culture, you can only review a practice in your household. Okay. Susie Thomas says, the way the guys are commenting tells us why we would continue to date them for years, yet no marriage. Because of white wedding, you have a question mark there. Evelyn says, I think bride price is something that the lady should have a say, I beg your pardon, a say in. When you look at things on the list, most of them goes to the lady. So does it mean that when your husband marries you, he will never buy anything for you again because he bought all when he was marrying you? Even those clothes and stuff. How many do some of the ladies use immediately? Some even keep them in their wardrobe till their death. So you're basically saying that you're buying the things as though she's going to use them now, but she doesn't really need it. So, of course, the conversation should go on. Linda Bell Ama says the bride price is just a token given to the woman to start her journey in marriage. My dear Gifty, after you put in more than what you are are you saying after all you put in more than what you're given? I'm not quite sure. Lauren says women should fight that they also pay bride price. Okay, let me pause here and take your thoughts on what you've heard so far, and then we'll go on with the comments later. Reverend.
I think you are seeing something, the trend. The men are getting angry.
Why?
Why? Because I think that we overburden the young couples.
Is it?
Yes. You see, what should be, we need to do that which is important.
Okay.
Not that which will please other people. The most important thing is showing appreciation to the man, the father, the mother, and the one you're about to marry. So basically, it should not go beyond certain spheres. Okay. Finish.
So we should, like you're saying, we should start the conversation with the families.
The families, and two, the churches. Because, for instance, Ghanaians, we assume that 66% are Christians. And for instance, if everybody goes to church every Sunday for maybe half of the year, for instance, any other Sunday, then means you are attending about 30 lecture hours, or if it's lecture hours, about 25 to 30 lecture hours. So what do we do with it? We have to engage, begin to tell people that I believe we need to encourage people to marry. How do we do it? We should not overburden them in terms of finances. Two, we need to conscientize their minds on the relevance of the cultural setting and how we can bring the families together, so that we should not burden one and become antagonistic when they are married. Okay, let me take your advice for young people who want to get married. You want to get married and you think that the bride price or whatever it is that you need to, the expenditure is scaring you, it's preventing you from marriage. What are the steps that you should take, starting with the bride price? You're a young man, assuming you're talking to a young man who wants to get married. What do you do? The first question, do you love gifting? I guess so. Good, you guess so. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get the hypothetical situation you're creating. The reason why I'm saying so is that when you have settled in your mind that this is the person that you want, the first thing is patience. Because issues of marriage takes a lot of patience, tolerance. Okay. Then that will allow you to accommodate certain things that naturally you wouldn't have. So you want to establish first that you love the person? Yes, of course. And then you can have the conversation. Then the second is a personal attitude of tolerance and patience. Okay. Because you are going into a battle that you don't have control. Okay, hold on for me, Reverend. Sorry, let's take this caller. Robinson is calling us. Robinson, where are you calling from? I'm calling from Sunyani. Sorry? Sunyani, I'm speaking from Sunyani. Right. Robinson, what's on your mind? Yeah, please, I'm very, very happy with the man, the way he's contributing to the program. Yeah, my major concern is that I don't think this is even important to discuss for now. Looking at when we talk of bride price, it's not, as you said, there is a spiritual consideration. Because if you don't pay your wife's bride price, and it's just like going to buy a good from a market. Because buying a good from the market, and anybody who comes to steal it seems to like you are stealing your property. But your wife cannot, a wife that you have paid her bride price, you cannot go and have affair with any other man anywhere. Are you saying that paying bride price is like buying the woman on the market? No, that's not what I'm saying. I said paying bride price. The relevance of it can never be underestimated. Okay. That is what I'm trying to put across. Okay. So, I mean, putting the conversation of, saying that some people ask for so much more. They think that it's a lot. Yeah, people are asking, families are asking for so much. So much more. Yes. That one should be something we should look at. But the bride price itself, as we say, it depends on where you are coming from. Okay. All right. Yes, it depends on where you are coming from. Okay. But I am coming from I'm a Dagasi by tribe. Let me put it that way. Okay. And I know how relevant bride price is. And we don't collect much. Yes. Okay. Our family has only decided what they collect. So you are for the review as well, that we should have, families should begin to talk about how much they're asking people to pay. Much, because as we are moving ahead in this modern day, everybody tries to get something. That's what I'm getting. Robinson, thank you very much for calling us. Bernard is calling from Kaswa. Bernard.
So for this topic this afternoon.
Right. Please go ahead.
I just finished my own last year. Do you know what happened to me?
Tell us.
I even have to, yes, are you listening?
Yes, I'm listening.
I even have to pay for my wife's family their transportation and everything, I have to afford it. It cost me almost about 1,200.
For just the transportation?
Yes, 10,200 for me to be able to do my engagement.
10,200 cedis.
Yes, it's like somebody wants to enrich himself with this engagement thing. It's becoming a burden on men. I know a lot of my friends who cannot get married because they are less, you can't believe it.
Okay. Bernard, thank you very much for your contribution. Let me pick Bismarck, and then when I done that, we'll come to Reverend to take his quick remarks on it. It looks like a lot more people think it has to be reviewed. Bismarck from Keta. Bismarck, what's on your mind?
Come again.
Bismarck, tell us, we're listening to you. What's on your mind?
Yeah, good evening.
Please go ahead.
Calling from Keta, Jalukova.
Yes, Bismarck, go ahead.
Okay. I'm saying that for now, what we are explaining now, parents of families are requesting more from we, the young guys, whereby we cannot afford a marriage at the moment. For instance, you can go to some of the family, they will request to send it to the community hall, whereby I don't think it's necessary for.
They will request for you to buy things for the community?
For the community.
I see.
Whereby it's not our responsibility. The little that we brought now, they have to manage it to make sure that.
Okay. Bismarck.
Yes, that is our problem at the moment. That is why we, the youth, are not interested for marriage at the moment now. So they have to amend those kind of laws.
Okay. Bismarck, thank you very much for your thoughts. So it's the trend. We come back to the trend. People think that how much families are demanding when people want to get married should actually be looked at. But how can we do this? And you were making a point. Let me finish with the point, and then we talk about how this can be effective. I mean, it's basically up to the discretion of the family members.
Well, so I've talked about whether you love the person.
Yeah.
The second is the emotional intelligence that you need, that you have to be patient. The third one you need to do is to engage.
Okay.
Engage and engage and engage. When you have that patience, you always go the extra mile to engage them.
You engage the family or the lady?
The family and the lady as well. When the person, when the love is mutual, the girl, whilst she's working on, you also be working on it. So you see that you'll be making progress because it's the girl who is entering into the marriage. So
let's look at this scenario. You've engaged the person, you've spoken to her, she's agreed, but she goes to the family and it's getting difficult. What do you do? As a lady, do you support the man to just get it off, just get it over and done with, or you just... Because there's this perception that if a woman supports a man to marry her...
it's not true.
I mean, they say some of the people we spoke to said that
that's not true.
It's not such a good thing.
Why should they say that?
So what do you do?
If you really love me, if gift you really love me, supporting me is natural.
Okay.
So the love should be mutual. When we begin to do that, when we begin to bring these barriers, then we are setting limitations as to what the woman should spend on and what the man should spend on. Then it means we cannot even come together and have maybe the total disclosure of our finances and work on it.
So after you have spoken to the family and they still do not agree?
If they still do not agree.
Your advice is that the women should help the man.
He who fights and runs away lives to fight another day.
So the woman should help the man to marry her?
Help where necessary. But at the same time, some of them we need to also pray. We need to also pray. And after that, let's get other people who are opinion leaders or people who can also convince the other party to accept, because the guy is willingly coming to the family. So when you are accepting somebody, you don't have to burden the person in such a way that the next time the guy cannot come into the door, or when he's coming to the door, he's coming with an angry face. So you should understand that, you see, when we are doing these things, we must understand that in our cultural setting, it is two families that we are bringing together.
Okay.
So let us not create any acrimony that when after we have done it, we cannot willingly or openly go into
we
the
can't
house.
Have a conversation.
It's
interesting.
Serious.
So I think for me, the conversation today has been, what I'm taking away from this discussion has been that bride price is still relevant. And as a community, as a people, it's a way of life, and people think it is really necessary. But we have to make it simple. And by doing so, it requires that you engage more with families. Yeah. And that the two people who are involved in the relationship should have a talk about how to move on from there. And that if the man cannot pay and the family does not want to reduce the amount they're demanding or whatever it is they're demanding, the lady should help.
Yes. Or hold on, when you are ready, then you're going for it. I don't want people a situation that, let us not encourage the situation where people have challenges, they back out. Okay. It's not good, because problems are meant to be solved, not meant to be postponed. So when you have a problem and you don't solve them, it will reoccur again. But there's always pride in something that you have worked for and you have succeeded in going through. Okay. You don't know what maybe could come out of it. Marriage is so beautiful. Marriage is so lovely.
Right.
Marriage is so admirable. So let's go in and let's go in the proper way.
Let's go in and let's go in the proper way. You're not buying the woman. If you're having to pay bride price, I don't think you're buying the woman. You're not buying the woman. No human being can be bought. Okay. Well, we're wrapping up this conversation today. But what conversation that we can have another time, which we saw in the sort of comments we saw on Facebook, is that people think that when you marry in the church and you do the traditional or customary marriage, you're marrying the woman twice. I have a friend who said, I will never marry a woman twice. It's either the customary marriage or we marry in the church. That's a conversation for another day.
It's very important. I don't think it's necessary. It should be one. Because
but you married your wife the customary way, and then you went to the church.
Ignorance is a killer.
Okay.
Ignorance is a killer.
Okay, we'll have that conversation sometime later.